Yeah, it says we're live.
Well, it lies.
Yeah. Dawn, I'm not sure what to make of your got my stabbings done this morning.
Well, either she got some injections or we need to provide an alibi.
Yeah, one or the other. No, Joel, I have not been watching the Rittenhouse trial. I don't
I'm
think my
not.
blood pressure going any
No, it's
higher.
too much heat, not enough light off the
Yeah.
Rittenhouse trial. I was banging around Facebook while trying to let my brain cool off, and stumbled into a conversation and made what I thought was a cogent observation, and that was a friggin' mistake.
Oh, flu shot or annual blood work. Okay, that
No alibi.
no alibi
Okay,
required. All right, I'm going to start off with something.
please start off with something.
Christmas crap does not come out until after Thanksgiving. Jeez, people, really? Christmas songs already?
Oh, I hate that.
Ah, damn.
I don't even start the Whamageddon.
Yeah.
I don't even start the Whamageddon contest until after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Yeah. Joel says the mistake was going on Facebook. Yeah, pretty much.
No kidding.
Uh, who, us have alibis? We don't have alibis. Hey, Yvonne, good to see you. Yeah, Virginia. Well, we got to go there.
That was spicy.
Yeah.
And New Jersey's worse.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Virginia. I mean, I've got to admit, I was wrong. I thought that it would be Fairfax and Loudoun would be the last two counties. Turns out it was Fairfax and Prince George's.
Okay.
So I was wrong on that. But yeah, you just whammed everybody.
That doesn't start yet.
Yeah. But the interesting part was Fairfax could only manufacture 80,000 votes.
Wasn't enough.
They did not have enough cheat to overcome the margin of cheat. And Winsome Sears is just ripping the
God
left a new.
bless her.
That is so beautiful. She is a Jamaican immigrant who joined the Marine Corps, became a U.S. citizen, has a master's degree, and has run a number of different companies to help people.
Oh, what's even better? Okay. Not only was she a Marine,
Yeah.
her MOS was electrician, and she cross-trained a diesel engineer.
Yeah.
Diesel engineer.
Yeah.
Diesel mechanic.
Yeah.
God bless her. And she is laying the smack out there.
Yeah, and DW brings up a good point. $153. That's how much the guy
New
in
Jersey.
New Jersey spent
Wow.
to get rid of a 30-year New Jersey Congress critter.
Apparently, the drop jaws all over New Jersey
Yeah.
have been epic.
And there are a number of questionable polling place issues in New Jersey that apparently, since they don't have recount capability in New Jersey, or they don't allow recounts, that have been brought to light. Josh, we've heard that. I don't know for a fact the new governor sent flowers and a thank you card to Lincoln Project, but
Should have sent a box of chocolates.
yeah, Jesse, they finally called New Jersey for Murphy. They finally found enough spare votes in suitcases and trunks and other places, and 53 or 56 voting machines in a strongly Republican area that apparently got shut down hours early.
The interesting thing about this cycle of elections, I saw a brief blurb about it, and I haven't seen it since. Was apparently California, the school board elections
Whoa.
was a bloodbath.
Yes.
And mainstream media isn't covering that. I don't know. I saw a brief blurb that it just said that the California local school board elections were brutal.
Yeah.
And was I think it said something about it was a wake up call for the Democrats or for the progressives.
DW just said the new city attorney in Seattle is a Republican.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep,
I missed
yep,
that
yep.
one. Oh, that's
Yep.
that's a slap upside the head.
With a dead trout.
Yeah. Long dead trout.
Anyway, on to something a little more.
Off, on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a little more cheerful.
Go for it.
You were saying about the podcast you listen to.
Oh, yeah. I spent an hour last night listening to a Q&A with Brandon Sanderson. And he was talking about how he writes. And one of the questions was whether or not he outlined things. So he provided a copy of his outline for a book called Skyfall. The outline was 15,000 words long.
That's not an outline. That's a short story.
It was an outline.
That's a novella.
It was an outline. But one of the more interesting questions asked was, what would you do if you were starting out as a writer today? And he said, I would go for self-publishing and try to become a hybrid author.
I'm hearing that a lot.
And he said, even though I have an agent, beware of agents.
But we've been preaching, we've been
Yes.
beating that dead horse for
Yes,
a while.
we have.
Well, I fall back on Larry Correa.
Yeah, Ray Carter is definitely smiling with the Seattle.
Oh, no kidding. I fall back on Larry Correa on this. Had Marco Close and a couple other folks we know. That's odd.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think both of them, both Marco and Larry, they self-published, got a huge following.
Yeah.
And then a publisher went, or traditional publisher went, whoa,
Yeah.
and folded them in.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably the wave of the future.
Yeah.
I think slush piles are out.
Well,
I think-
Larry got help by Uncle Timmy too.
Well, Larry got helped by the firing line.
Yeah.
So
And-
so
yeah.
did Marco. But I think slush piles, where you send in stuff and to traditional publishers and they send you a rejection
Yeah.
letter, I think those are, if not a thing of the past, quickly becoming a thing of the past.
Yeah.
Why send something to a slush pile?
Yeah.
Self-publish, make a cup of coffee every 6 months or whatever off of it, make money off of it, while folks take a look at, your big publishers take a look at the indie stuff all
Yeah.
the time.
Yep.
So why send something in a slush pile? Sit there and chew your thumb, chew your fingernails. Self-publish, make some money.
Yeah.
Start a backlist.
Yeah.
And if you pop up a Marco Close or a Larry Correa or any other number of folks we know, John
Yeah.
Vance Wright, you start building up a fan base, and some traditional publisher, if you're good enough, is going to go, I want that fan base too,
Yeah.
and we'll offer you a contract.
Yep. Yeah, and the other thing that he said was the definition of success varies from author to author.
Oh God, yes.
Yes, Jesse, Skyfall is not that long, but yes, it was and yes, Sarah, it really was an outline that was almost 16,000 words.
No. If I'm doing 15 or 16,000 words, I'm gonna finish the novella and drive on.
Yeah. Yeah, DW. Nite Arvel out of over Speaking of Strangers and Charm, who is a neat guy to watch.
Nice guy.
Also a
Nice guy.
scientist. Says Biden has the Mauritius touch, i.e. the shit touch.
But anyway, no, slush piles. Why send anything to a slush pile? Self-publish.
Yeah.
Make $1 or $2, or which is $1 or $2 more than you had.
Yep.
Let people read it. If you don't ever get picked up, you're making money.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm making
Me.
money.
Yep.
Without ever having me picked by a major author or a major publishing house. And honestly, God, traditional publishing needs to go ahead and die on the vine.
Yeah.
Their contracts are. I don't know if I've said this in private a lot. As a retired law enforcement officer, honest to God, some of these contracts I've read that people signed with traditional publishing
Yeah,
should have triggered a RICO investigation.
yeah,
If the traditional publishing, if the Manhattan Publishing isn't racketeering, influence, corrupt organization, I don't know what is.
yeah,
Good God.
yeah. Yeah, Jesse, the prestige of being a real writer.
I mean,
trademark.
whatever. You can't eat prestige.
Yeah. Yeah, Dot's success in self-publishing is a good example. Cedars,
Cedar.
Ian's,
Peter.
Peter. You know, there is success to be had out there.
If you sign on with a traditional publisher, you're going to sign away your intellectual property.
Yeah.
For pennies on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
The best one I've ever heard was 30 cents of every dollar the author got.
Yeah.
7 cents to a dime out of every dollar is more usual.
Yeah.
You do all the brain sweat. Why are you getting less than 10% of your brain sweat? Why do people agree to this?
Well, because for years that was the only way to do it. It was a penny a word. And DW makes a good point. Jerry Purnell predicted back in the 70s the death of traditional publishing on an appearance on Tomorrow with Tom Snyder.
Traditional publishing, as I can tell, except for some of the smaller houses, which still, damn.
Yeah.
But traditional publishing, as I can tell, is a scam. It is racketeering with a pretty face and cocktails.
Yeah. Koala just said, give us a good example. Her mom wanted to publish her kids' books. She used Amazon and is now sold in 15 countries. Congratulations to her. That is outstanding.
You know, I can publish through Amazon and get paid 70 cents of every dollar.
Yeah.
Why the hell, if I can get 70 cents of every dollar, why the hell should I go somewhere else, give them all of my brain sweat in return for 7 cents of every dollar?
Yeah.
But the example that I use all the time.
Rick brings up an even better point. Pennies, if they ever actually pay you. Publish accounting is nearly as corrupt as Hollywood accounting.
Racketeering influence, corrupt organization.
Sarah, Dave Freer, Brad Torgerson. How many other authors can we name that have been screwed over?
Yeah. But and every time you've got, stick a pin to quote Raggedy Ann and what I was going to say earlier. You can't tell me that Hillary Clinton earned out the advance on her book.
Oh, she never will. That was a payoff.
That money, again.
That money came from somewhere.
Somewhere.
It came from the authors.
It came from the folks who were selling books.
Yeah.
Their money got skimmed off the top and given to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Which means that they didn't get what they were supposed to get paid. Yeah. Anyway, one of the examples, one of the reasons I get so annoyed at traditional publishing is S.M. Sterling's The Peshawar Lancers.
Yeah.
Great book. Love that book.
Never be a sequel.
Yeah, and it's a very popular book. And I was briefly Facebook friends with him. And somebody asked him when the sequel to Peshawar Lancers was coming out. He said it never will.
Yeah.
Because the publishing house that published it owns everything.
Yep.
They own the characters, they own the world, they own everything.
Yeah, and he signed away his entire IP.
The whole IP, which was a standard contract.
Yeah.
He cannot write in that world or those characters without the permission of the publisher, and they don't want to give it to him.
Yeah.
That's his baby. That is the sweat of his brain.
Yeah.
And some schmuck drinking Manhattans in a high rise on a pustulant little island in New York gets to say, no, I don't think we want to publish that.
Yeah.
Bother that for a game of soldiers.
RK said they self-published Spousal Unit's third book, and it outsold J.K. Rowling's Thriller for an entire day until they found out it was Rowling.
Right.
And I don't know if anybody else has read it. I've read it, and I'm like her. I hated it. It's a lousy book. But J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, there's a lot of name attraction there. And I don't begrudge her that. I do not begrudge her that at all.
Yeah.
World ain't fair.
Rick
However,
brings up another good one. Disney screwing over Alan Dean Foster on the early Star Wars books.
continually and still.
Yes, and he cannot get any money out of them, even though it's been proven that they screwed him over.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just the contracts are Byzantine.
Yeah.
Um,
Even if you hire a lawyer, you have to have a lawyer that is familiar with Hollywood and intellectual property.
and the accounting, I'm pretty sure there are mob accountants going, damn,
Yeah.
genuflecting in the direction of
Yeah.
the Flatiron Building, because traditional public accounting,
Yeah.
whole bunch of spaghetti.
Yeah.
And you're even more confused when it's done than you were when it started.
Yeah, most lawyers won't touch the mouse. Yeah, for good reason. Yeah, the contracts that we send out when we do the little anthologies are short, to the point,
Mhm.
and everybody's expected to copyright their own work, and they get it back in a year.
Yep. And the profit is split equally.
Yeah.
There was a contract I saw for a traditional publishing house, which will go unnamed, and it was $150 for 5,000 to 8,000 words, and the IP in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. Because people are desperate to get quote unquote
And I looked
published.
I looked at the guy that showed me this, and it's like, isn't that a great? No, that's not great.
No.
What about this is great?
I'm getting published.
I'm getting published, or which is right up there with my favorite. I'm getting exposure. Exposure is what you die of when you don't have enough money to buy clothes or food.
Yeah. I'm making enough I can now afford a Hawaiian shirt. Although today it happens to be cold in hell and wet.
Wet and cold, and my hips hurt.
Yeah. Not 21 anymore. So what kind of questions have y'all got from the commentary section?
Oh God. Oh God, you opened up for questions?
Janice Ian, yeah.
What?
Her only income when touring was the t-shirt and CD table. Money from ticket sales went to everybody but her. Yep. Yes, Wayne, we're men of a certain age and you're catching up with us. Matter of fact, you're already there.
You're not that far behind, Scooter.
Yeah.
But this
message redacted.
This dovetails quite nicely with the Vanity publisher rant I had last week.
Yeah.
And honest to God, traditional publishing is just Vanity publishing, near as I can tell, for the most part, with better lawyers.
RK, the Library of Ghost Stories, basically the end of December.
What?
The Library of Ghost Story.
Oh, you mean end of December? I thought it was April.
Well, if we get it out sooner, we get it out.
Don't do that to me. I'm behind as it is. Don't add more rocks onto the.
RK, whenever you get it done, we'll be happy to accept it and turn it in. No, Josh, I am not the blog father. I've been blogging for a lot of years, yes, but I'm not the blog father. That would probably be, God, I don't even know who that would be.
I've got a lot of blog kids out there.
Yeah.
Kelly Grayson and who apparently is recovering quite nicely from spinal surgery.
Yeah.
So if y'all got good mojo, send it his way.
Yeah. And another friend of ours just had surgery. She had surgery to move two, count them, 2 kidney stones.
Oh.
Yeah, Don, you're one of Ian's blog kids.
Nice try. No, Don. I've got several.
Yeah.
Very proud of all of them.
Yeah.
Especially when they blog, Don.
Yeah. Wayne, yeah. Beats the hell out of us, Josh. I don't know.
What's that?
Who would the evil space princess have been referring to?
In which,
Blog Father. I don't know.
damn if I know.
I just picked it up because I was bored to tears one day. And was getting tired of the gun forums because they were starting to get invaded by idiots. Yeah.
I started blogging because I needed a place to tell my stories.
Yeah.
And we were tightening down the both the firing line and the high road. We were tightening down the non sequiturs.
Yeah, Glenn Reynolds. He is probably the blog father for all of us.
Yeah. Well, I had never heard of him until I'd been blogging for a year or two.
Yeah.
I think about the only blog I knew about was Anti-Idioterian Rottweiler.
Yeah.
No, I picked that one up afterwards.
Kim DeToy,
I didn't read his.
Glenn Reynolds.
Tam Keel was the only one I read.
Yeah.
Tam Keel was the only one I read. And I picked Blogspot because Tam Keel's blog was on Blogspot. It was fairly easy.
It's suiting the ring. Not going to ask.
What?
Yeah, Sarah's been a little overwhelmed since last night.
Yeah,
For good reason.
Yeah.
So anyway, what questions do y'all have from the chat? Nancy, I didn't know anything. Are they now saying there's going to be a mask requirement?
Mask requirement for what? For LTE?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yes, she did, Jesse. Yeah, Cedar says, I started blogging at Blogspot as a mommy blog. Yeah, you've come a little bit further than that, Cedar.
Wow. How things have matured.
Yeah. All right, Josh, I'll go find the bolo. I've got it in the bedroom somewhere.
Real world book.
Hopefully by Christmas. I'm working on it. Jeez, folks.
Oh.
Strike band laser target system. Huh. Oh, your little bitty 9mm won't work. That's interesting.
Will be 9mm for what?
For strike man laser target system.
Huh. Well,
yeah, the baby's now 16. They've all grown. Yeah. Yeah, you can't stop time, Cedar, regardless how hard people want to.
Since we're not getting actual questions out of the or any questions out of the comment section.
Yeah.
This my usually twice a year rant. Self-publishing is easy, folks.
Yeah.
Everybody who, if you've ever thought about putting out a book, self-publish.
But also, you're going to self-publish. Get somebody to edit the fucking thing.
Well, yes.
God, please. I mean, I suck. I know that.
Oh God, there was an officer before I retired, self-published a mystery story, and I tried to read it. I really did. Oh God, you got it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you ever get through it?
Yeah.
Did you? You're better than I am.
And I got 2/3 of the way through it.
Edit. You need don't edit your own folks stuff.
Yeah.
I realize some people say they can edit their own stuff. I don't believe them. Don't edit your own stuff.
No.
You know what it was. You know what you meant in your head. You know what you meant when you wrote something. Just because you wrote herp derp herp derp.
Yeah.
In your head, you know what it said, and your brain will superimpose the lovely thing you had in your head over the herp derp that you actually wrote.
But get readers that don't like you because you want honest feedback. Yeah, typos, homophones. Yeah, the problem is, Rick, even after you do that, and multiple people have looked at it, you're gonna find spelling errors.
There's still going to be some spelling errors
in the printed copy.
But
period.
You can trim most of them out if you have somebody else. And Cedar has a good point. Don't do your own cover.
No.
about the only actual, we do a writers group once a month here
Yeah.
in small town, and about the only um, input I have is that cover sucks.
Yeah.
And I will gently take their book and I'll walk to the end of the room where the book becomes about the size of a thumbnail, and I'll put it against the wall and say, "What stands out? Nothing.
Yeah.
You're self-publishing. Most of you're going to show up in a stream of postage stamp sized covers.
Yep.
If yours doesn't stand out, if they can't look at it and say, "Ooh, that's something I'd like to read,"
Yeah.
they're going to swipe left or swipe whatever the hell the code is and move on to the next one.
Yep.
Your cover needs to be simple. It needs to be applicable to the genre.
Yeah.
Because you've got a postage stamp sized image on a scrolling cell phone to sell your book.
Yeah. Yeah, Rick, that was a while ago. If you were copy editing as it came off the dot matrix,
Oh,
because that was a slow printer. Dawn, you're not supposed to argue with your character. Let the character go where she's
says
gonna go.
who? I argue with mine all the time. I usually
Yeah,
lose.
but you lose.
I usually lose, but I
Yeah.
still argue with them. But
Yeah, Cedar is exactly right. The cover is your single largest marketing tool.
again, and bear in mind your cover as a postage stamp sized image.
Yeah.
Scrolling by in a stream of other postage stamp sized images. Don't skimp on the cover, guys.
Yeah. Rick, I'll have you know, I started out on an IBM AT with a Lightning program running a whole 4, jumping it from 4 to 8 megahertz, and 2
Woohoo!
copies, and a really, really, really shitty dot matrix.
5 1/4 inch floppies or 3 1/2.
5 1/4. I'll tell you, and you whatever the argument is after it's over, and you can tell me, oh, good. Well,
What?
see, now that's editing. Dawn says,
Oh.
Yes, Nancy, that is very important. Period. Correct. And that's something, and Nancy brings up an excellent point. Women will snap on a cover that does not have period correct
Oh, you ought to.
clothing and other things.
You ought to be sitting around when historical drama comes on, and My Little Love and Jonna and other ladies start ripping apart the wardrobe.
Oh, God, yes.
Now I know how they feel when a Lee Enfield SMLE shows up at the Battle of Rorke's Drift, and
Yeah.
I lose my poo. I didn't realize it was that annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, and Sarah, that's a good point about the period correct language. However, you can overdo that.
Yes,
Uh,
that's Deadwood is actually the prime example of that.
yeah,
There was a whole bunch of pearl clutching about the language used in Deadwood,
yeah,
about how it wasn't period correct.
Yeah.
Well, it was, and it wasn't period correct. However, the language that during that time period would have provoked the same reaction.
Yeah.
We would giggle at now.
Yeah.
The language that would have, pearl clutching, oh my God, the equivalent of cocksucker.
Yeah.
Would be something, we giggle at.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so quaint. And the producers weren't looking for giggling, they're looking for the shock value
Yeah.
that the original language would have had, but that the original language wouldn't provide.
Yep.
Gosh darn it, in the 1800s
Wasn't-
was not used in polite company.
yeah. It's
If-
definitely not around women.
If Al Swearingen on Deadwood goes, gosh darn it,
Yeah.
nobody would have it. That's cute.
Yeah, DW saw a novel set during the Indian Mutiny, even though the cover showed a Gatling gun. Yeah, right. Not so much.
Was it a puckle gun?
I don't know. Or some character puts a safety on a single action. Yeah, no. Oh, Rick, I didn't realize you were a submariner. Yeah, I used to chase you for a living. Down Periscope, yes, it's pretty close.
The Kelly Grayson has this wonderful story he tells, and the upshot of it was he actually bought a Cimarron or Heritage Arms 22,
Yeah.
Single action army that had a friggin' safety on it.
Yeah.
And he handed it to me, holding back the giggles because he knew exactly what I was going to do. It's like, oh look, it's a. What the hell is this thing?
Yes. Yeah, period correct language is like a foreign language. And I worked on that in every Western type book, and especially in the newest 1870s series that I'm doing, because I tried to make the language correct, but not overbearing.
And that's something else. The language issue.
That was a Gatling with a donut magazine.
That sounds like a buckle gun.
Yeah.
This is one. I read a historical action adventure set during the 1890s, and the author, bless his heart, used period correct language the whole way through.
Oof.
And
that's a hard read.
That was a very hard read, especially for a beach read.
Yeah.
And I plowed through because I'd paid money for this son of a bitch, and I plowed through and read it. But you can go overboard with period correct language. I mean, every bit of his language was period correct, and it was hard to plow through that.
Yeah.
And I am a little better than most your average reader on Old West slang and speech.
Yeah.
And I had to go find a couple of my reference books to figure out what the hell he was talking about.
Yeah.
You can overdo it.
We caught y'all enough times. Asked the COUSS Norfolk about whether or not we caught him. Smoke checked his ass at sunrise one morning, and he inadvertently snapped a picture through the scope, which showed a P3 with the Bombay doors open coming down on his ass.
My brother brings up a good point. There is, in self-publishing, there's becoming, particularly in covers, there's some program out there that does people.
Yeah.
And it's terrible. And uncanny valley effect is a thing. For those of you who don't know what the uncanny valley effect is, somewhere back in our lizard brains, we do not like things that are close to human but not quite.
Yeah.
We really don't like things that are close to human but not. And some of or a lot, I would go so far as majority of these the CGI generated covers with CGI people trigger my uncanny valley response pretty hard.
Yeah.
Honestly, folks, if you're going to do people, go old fashioned and buy somebody to paint it for you.
Yeah.
You can get some good digital people. There's folks on here that can talk about good digital people.
Yeah.
But your average Fiverr using, I think Chris said it's called Poser or something. Yeah. Your 3D rendered person sends my monkey brain screaming for the rafters.
Yeah.
That ain't right.
Yeah, Nancy says great period correct language and tone was Ride with the Devil, 1860s movie. Rick says it's an art to use period correct and still leave enough context to help with the unfamiliar term. That's a good point.
Yep.
Yeah, I still want to know what the hell causes that to be so embedded in our psyche. Yeah, I don't know, but it's definitely there.
Well, it's something I pointed out. I pointed out to Mona Lisa, my little sister, or informally adopted little sister.
Yeah.
That the other critter that really hates things that look human but aren't quite is dogs.
Yeah.
So whatever it was encoded in our genetic memory, that things that are almost human but not quite are bad, came along after we domesticated dogs.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Sleep well tonight, okay?
when you domesticated dogs, you taught them how to use eyebrows.
They're using them now.
Yeah, they're using them now, and you go look at a feral wolf, they don't have an eyebrow.
No.
They don't make puppy dog eyes.
But I've seen wolves go by animatronic Santa Clauses without and
Yeah.
coyotes.
Yeah.
Without a care in the world. But man, I've seen a dachshund, a terrier, and generic Texas catalog healer
Yeah,
lose their poo at an animatronic people figure when the animatronic cow didn't bother them a bit.
Well, so they lose it. I can tell you, a Rottweiler loses it with animatronics too. Yeah. It's a almost looking variant. Nancy says, God put it there to protect against supernatural imposters. That could be interesting.
But when you're wanting me to read your book and you've got something evil on the cover that just sets my hindbrain on fire, sorry, ain't gonna buy it.
Rock-colored Akita that looks like a Wookiee. Every neighborhood dog would freak out. Yeah, I can imagine that. Because it was not so much the Akita as it was, oh my God, it's a wolf.
It's Akita, which is
hindbrains work on the dogs too.
If I'm not mistaken, Jessie Gaunt, friend of ours, she's the one that's responsible for the animal facts that keep you awake at night.
Yeah.
I think she told me one time that Akitas were an old breed and maybe one step removed from wolves as it was.
Yeah. Yeah, Lady Lark. Why don't you like blue aliens? No.
What in Avatar?
Yeah, or her books. She writes blue aliens.
After you say Avatar, $1.6 million to perfect digital jiggle. The man is a god to me.
Raptor says, Scotty the dirt man loses over lawn decorations.
Yeah.
Yeah, human shape. Yep.
But it's the uncanny valley effect is a thing.
Oh, Rick said, not a wolf. Bear looked like a giant stuffed animal.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that I could see that.
It looked like a predator.
Yeah.
Dancing with Smurfs.
Oh. Oh God, I can imagine. Yeah, Moose would go absolutely bug nuts, Don.
Go.
Considering, yeah, well, he wouldn't have far further to go.
The difference between normal and nuts for him is like.
Yeah. Dancing with wolves in space.
In space. I spent the entire time either staring at boobs bouncing on screen, or sympathizing with the human kernel.
Yeah. Dancing with Smurfs was lame. Your aliens are much better, Lady Lark. I will give you credit for that.
When I wanted it to end with the Scarface Colonel standing on the smoldering wreckage of the World Tree, I knew that they'd lost me.
Yeah. I watched the whole thing because my grandson wanted to watch it.
I paid money.
Yeah, and I think that's the last actual movie I paid to go see in a theater. Yep. Oh, Vito was great with the kids, any kids, and didn't really have a problem with other dogs because he was 105 pounds. And most of the neighbor dogs up there were smaller. I haven't. All right, I'll admit, I am not a Star Wars geek. I never got that deep into it.
Ewoks must die.
I was already in the military when Star Wars came out, so I don't get the Star Trek thing either. There again, an explanation is warranted. Is that I don't watch much episodic TV. I never did, because when you're an aviator in the military, you're living and dying by the flight schedule.
Raptor speaks to me.
Yeah. You're living and dying by the flight schedule. And that flight schedule may include a week, or in my case, a month-long debt to some place that doesn't have American TV. And I just never got in the habit of watching episodic TV. Quite honestly, because if you miss 3-4 episodes, you're completely friggin' lost. And back in the day, you didn't have an option of going back and picking those up. Yeah, pulling the Hong Kong. Yeah, you had other things on your mind, Rick. Trust me, I know that.
Yeah. Okay. One of the questions, there's multiple things about the Ewoks. One, somebody needs to explain to me how a bunch of Paleolithic teddy bears can defeat the might of a galaxy-spanning empire. And if a galaxy-spanning empire with space wizards and orbital death platforms can't beat a bunch of fuzzy primitives, they deserve to be destroyed. However, has anybody explained where the hell a bunch of short, furry fuzzballs got a gown in human female shape and size? Anybody wonder about that?
There are a lot of strange things in those movies.
So-
Afghanistan equals Ewoks, yeah. Plot armor, yeah.
So, how fast did it take him to eat the previous wearer of that gown they gave Princess
Yeah.
Leia? Does anybody know?
Yeah. And it was clean gown even. Yeah,
Yeah.
the diet was heavy on long pig, yeah. And Babylon 5 is another one. I never got into that
I have
one either.
never seen Babylon 5.
Yeah.
I think I probably should, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, Raptor says Ewoks can strip a stormtrooper to bones in about 90 seconds. Yeah.
And apparently, a human female in a gown in even less than that.
Female costume design is problematic in Star Wars. Amidala. Oh, I don't know who Amidala was.
I don't remember those.
Yeah.
I think that
Fuzzy
was.
piranhas, yeah.
I think that was supposed to be Darth Vader's mom.
Yeah.
No, wife. Wife. My bad, wife.
Okay, whatever.
Whatever. The prequels were just
Yeah.
so much hot garbage.
I mean, I watched the first 3 Star Wars.
I did too. I liked them.
They were good. Oh, Queen Amidala is Padme. Okay,
Right. Darth Vader's wife.
Whoever.
His snuggums.
And I like the movies, but you know, I never got into the worship, so to speak.
I liked them as classic. The first 3 movies was a classic redemption arc, beautifully done. Granted, there was plot armor. Where the hell did that dress come from?
Yeah.
Granted, it was a ton of plot armor. Okay, honestly, I've got a space station that blows planets up. Why am I sneaking around a planet to get to another planet?
Yeah.
Go through the first one, go through the second one, movie's done.
Yeah.
Anyway, my bad.
That's about as bad as all the Halloween movies, slasher movies.
And you can't tell me.
You know, if one of us got in one of those things, it'd be over in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, oh, you're going to come with me? Boom. All right, now, come on. You know.
Well, hell, let me get the shotgun.
Oh, God. Yeah, and the costume clubs, it's,
Oh, I like those guys. The 501st,
yeah.
they're a lot of fun. That we saw them at Amicon. They were a
Yeah.
lot of fun. They had a couple of stormtroopers and an Imperial officer walking around, and the folks that played music would start
Yeah.
playing stuff, and they actually had a ticket book. It would write tickets for playing the Rebel.
And there was that kid in the C-3PO costume.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. How small was that kid, though? I
I'm
mean,
not-
had
I'm
to
not-
be freaking rail thin.
Yeah, no kidding.
DS1 super lasers Take 24 hours to recharge. Whatever.
Go through the first one.
Yeah.
Go through the second one.
Yeah. And Rick says Lucas's wife added those scenes to make the last sequence work.
The last sequence, which last sequence?
Yeah. Now you don't see veterans do horror movies because
No.
yeah, they would, movie be 30 seconds long.
It's like I see Craig Douglas in a horror movie. That'll be fun.
Yeah. No,
Briefly.
Raptor's a 501st member.
Woohoo! I like those guys. They do a lot for
Yeah,
charities.
Sarah, we're seeing your comments.
Which Sarah?
She's making comments, and I'm seeing them in here.
She thinks she's not?
Yeah. Maybe the death ray didn't work on it. I don't know.
Gas planets have solid cores. Yeah, hit the solid core, the gas goes away.
Yeah.
If it's so gassy that you can't just go through it.
Yeah.
Not even the laser, just put right
Yeah.
through the gas.
Raptor says the first trip they did a Memorial Day parade. High school marching band saw them and started playing the Imperial March. Yep, Sarah, we still see you.
Wasn't this official? Yeah.
There's a lot of things that aren't in movie budgets that end up in movies.
Ask Alec Baldwin recently.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, too soon?
Yeah. Oh, that one's going to get ugly before it gets any better.
The finger pointing has now started, I noticed.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, no, back to Star Wars. The first three were a decent arc.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me. No, we won't go there. That's a rant for a whole different time.
Raptor says, conductor's like, what the hell are you doing? Turns around like, oh, and started conducting. That's good. Well, it is that time of the year, RK. Be safe and hope everything works okay. Yeah, it is that time of year for medical appointments.
Oh, God. Oh,
Yeah.
I was talking about, I posted a video on a Azerbaijani guy that was doing doner kebab.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, out of Turkey, a kebab is more like a gyro.
Yeah.
It's a big slab of meat in front of rotating in front of a fire. You cut off chunks of doner kebab. And he was doing a doner kebab, one of these. They don't say anything. It's these lush landscapes and then a guy cooking. And I mentioned about halfway through it, he fires up his samovar.
Yeah.
And I mentioned I had electric samovar in Bugskuffle. And in Panhandle winter, it's really great to plug in your samovar, get the water heating, put a teapot on top of it, and have tea all day long. And I think my third year, I burned it out.
Yeah.
It's in storage somewhere, and I don't think it works anymore. And it really makes me sad.
Yeah, Sarah, that mess is starting to sound like a Perry Mason plot.
Yeah, no kidding. Fingers everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, Rick, you're right. The first three were a classic hero's journey arc, and it worked.
And you can't tell me that George Lucas actually expected to do more movies.
No.
Star Wars,
That was
the original one, the original Star Wars,
Yeah.
that was a one-off. He was a move on to other things.
Yeah.
And then it went, oh my God, it's popular. And
Yeah.
started this trope about, oh, I meant to do an entire. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He threw a movie together to make enough money to make his next movie.
Yeah.
And stumbled into fame.
Yeah. Yeah, doner kebab is interesting. The other thing is if you actually talk to them about where the word doner came from, it's whatever meat's available.
Yeah.
It's a doner kebab made out of whatever meat they have handy. It might be beef, it might be pork, it might be chicken, it might be goat, it might be lamb.
Generally, it was goat and lamb
Yeah.
because pork was for doner kebab. Is usually shows up pork's a no-no.
Yeah.
Can't say that all the time.
Yeah.
But out of Turkey,
Yeah, long pig.
the doner kebab is just a gyro. And oh my God, they're good.
Yeah. Little hole in the wall kebab place in Salzburg. Yeah. Yeah. Hole in the wall places, regardless of where they are in the world.
I loved Splinter of a Mind's Eye.
Yes.
Chris was in fourth grade. I was in sixth grade, and we got stuck for a part of the year at Stateside. and they had this thing where you got this little cheap newsprint catalog with books in it. And I forget, you got coupons or something. If you got enough coupons for doing stuff, you could order books. And I ordered Splinter of Mind's Eye, and I was crossing my fingers that it would show up before we had to go back overseas.
Yeah.
And it did. And I read that thing. I almost wore the cover off of that. That was a great book. Great book. And damn sure Alan Dean Foster and George Lucas collaborated on that. And there wasn't any bit of pop-up Darth Vader in there at all.
Yeah, Donald Wild truck in front of PX at Fort Lewis. DW, when I was out there in 2015, it was still there.
But it's just, I love these videos. Started out with that Georgian guy, Georgia as in the country, not the state. And I first started watching the video because he was saying something, he does this brief talk about knives, and the very next scene, he's got a bandage on one hand.
Yeah.
And he had called in a friend to help him cut up whatever they were cooking.
Yeah.
And the friend was a thug. The friend was very, very definitely a thug, and he knew his way around knives.
Yeah.
But the food they cooked looked wonderful, and the scenery was great. And I started watching these. And there's this YouTube subsection of folks in Ukraine and Georgia, like I said, the country, not the state, Azerbaijan and Turkey and other places, that it's this glorious scenery and then a guy not saying anything, just cooking.
Yeah.
And then glorious scenery, further on the cooking, scenery, further on the cooking, eating. Voila.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that's so peaceful and comforting.
Yeah. Yeah, the expanded universe books with G.A. Thrawn, Scholastic Book Service. That's the DW. You and I are probably the only two old enough to remember that. But that was a good way to order books. Ostrich. That's what Sarah said it was.
What? Oh, the meat?
Yeah.
Okay. The
Hey Pat, good to see you.
Han Solo at he did 3. Had this little robot buddy, and it was a evil corporation instead of the Empire.
Yeah.
Corporate arm or something. Those are good books.
Yeah, Josh, in a way, Star Wars was an advertisement for LucasArts and ILM, but
Later on it was.
You got to understand, ILM got started because of
the profits of Star Wars.
Well, not only that, but Stanford Research and SRI and a couple of people down there forming this little company that became Silicon Graphics, and a stone crazy programmer who programmed a couple of computers, called them Flame and Smoke, which were an upshot of Iris and Orchid, which were done for the U.S. Navy. And that programmer was not right.
Han Solo at Star's End. That's one of the books.
Yeah. Mechanical for Leibowitz, yeah. Well, Pat, you're also as old as we are, so. Yeah. Yeah. And Solo and Lost Odyssey.
That was my favorite. Han Solo and the Lost Odyssey is my favorite.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I missed those.
Yeah, it was a 3-part series of Han Solo off the corporate sector, a corporate authority or something. And it had this, it was kind of a little bit of a rip off of Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
Because he had this little robot buddy with a backpack robot or something.
Yeah.
It was really good books. For somebody starved for good science fiction. And the science fiction that we read in Nigeria was science fiction books were brought over by the engineers, young engineers. So it was heavy on hard science fiction.
Yeah.
Which wasn't bad. I didn't mind hard science fiction. They got here and I discovered space opera, which I have to admit I have a warm place in my heart for space opera. I really do. Um, and I still like the hard science fiction, but space operas really were.
Well, I grew up on Heinlein, Edgar Rice Burroughs,
Mhm.
E. Doc Smith, L'Amour,
I don't count Edgar
Zane
Rice Burroughs.
Grey,
I don't count Edgar Rice Burroughs or Robert E. Howard
and Howard was the other one.
as science fiction. That was just evening reading for me.
Yeah.
Because I think we had the serialized Doctor Who books, most of them,
Yeah.
through the fourth Doctor Who.
Never got those.
I read those and saw the books were a lot better than the shows were.
Yeah.
Because we've been reading the books in Nigeria, and then we spent some time in London. It's like we finally get to watch Doctor Who, and that was quite frankly disappointing.
Yeah.
It's Chris and I, and we weren't very old, and the Daleks were going across the floor, and you could see the plywood buckling. It's
Yeah.
like, oh dear.
I never got into the Tom Swift. I read a couple of them.
Hmm.
Hardy Brothers. I kind of graduated out of that into the, I guess, harder science fiction quicker. I can honestly say I never remember Doom Crafters.
Mm.
Doom Fairs, sorry. Crafters Fairs. Yeah. Craft Fair.
And we got back in time. We were here one summer and got to see the glorious Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
With the Queen soundtrack. Talk about cheese, glorious cheese. Max von Sydow chewed the scenery something fierce. I loved that movie. And I haven't seen it since because I'm terrified it won't be as good as I remember because, oh my God, that was a good movie.
Yeah. C. Matt Clark, Asimov, Foster. Yeah.
And Brian Blessed as the the Hawk Lord. What the hell is his name? Voltron? No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Max Van Sydow went on record saying that Ming was his favorite role. Yeah.
Oh, he chewed scenery something fierce on that. He was being a bad guy and enjoying every second of it. Yeah. His sidekick, Darth Vader ripoff, was having a good time too.
Yeah. And Asimov was a scientist to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So his were very much hard science fiction.
I was just thinking about Asimov. He did one of his robot series. It was a crime novel. I barely remember, but what I do remember was the fact that everybody lived in domes miles apart, and you never ever interacted in person. And I was thinking about that as I watched The Stupidity in California last month.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
It wasn't iRobot. It was
no.
It was. I think it was a short story in a robot collection.
Yeah.
But this guy, the investigator, had to go out.
Our Daniel Olivaw in Caves of Steel. That was it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. He had to go out and talk to somebody or investigate a dead body.
Yeah.
And was freaking out because there was going to be somebody else there.
Yeah. Olivaw was the investigator.
Okay.
Yeah. Caves of Steel and the sequels. Yeah.
And I was just thinking, when I was a child, oh my God, how inconceivable.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I'm trying to put the brakes to heading that way.
Oh.
Hardy Boys and the Three Investigators. In Bucks Couple, where my grandparents were, where we came every year for Dad's month off. The library had the Hardy Boys and the Three Investigators. I preferred the Three Investigators. They were great.
And of course, you had all the other fiction that was available. Mark Twain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, how many books did we read as kids? Yeah, Liege Bailey was the Earther detective. You're right. Ardaniel was the robot, but he was also detective. Danny Dunn, Encyclopedia.
Alfred Hitchcock and the Three Investigators.
Yeah.
That was I love that series. And again, it's another one that I'm pretty sure if I picked it up now, it would be so terrible.
Yeah.
But when at the time, it was a great. I would read a book a day. I smoke checked my library card on those.
Yeah. Yeah, Richard, that was true of a lot of the books, series books back in the day. They were the same author in different pen names. Webb Griffin being the classic example. It was actually William E. Butterworth is his real name. And he wrote all of the Webb Griffin books. And he also wrote about half of the MASH books
Oh,
as Richard T.
that's right.
Hooker. Yeah. After the original guy got tired of writing them, he got brought in to write the rest of them.
Then when I got into high school and I was stuck in Texas the last 2 years of high school, we discovered the rotating book rack
Yeah.
that you would find at the grocery stores. And Mac Bolan and Able Team and Phoenix Force and Nick Carter. And I read more than my fair share of that pulp crap.
Oh yeah. Well, Navy, everybody had a book in your back pocket. Officers and enlisted both, because you're out there bored to tears a lot of the time. By the way, I've got to recommend Pete Nealon's latest in the Maelstrom Rising series called Area Denial.
Oh yeah.
And it takes place in the South China Sea.
Oh, that's
And he gets it. Not only are the weapons right, the ships are right, but the tyranny of distance is right, and the time delays, and the frustrations that the people go through because they can't get from here to there in a timely fashion.
He's Peter Nealon's got, as far as if you want to read, I don't read a lot of his stuff because it gives me the chills.
Yeah.
If you want a something applicable to Chinese now, Peter Nealon's stuff on war with China is well done.
Brian, I'm trying to remember it. Sorry, off the top of my head, I can't remember it. But it's Peter Nealon, Maelstrom Rising series. That's the one that we wrote the anthology in. And we wasted another hour of your time, folks.
Oh, we have?
Yeah.
Wow. Boy, that one went quick.
Yeah.
We get off on books and food, we go quick.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you folks for listening. We appreciate it.
Y'all be safe.
Be safe. Have a good weekend. Remember, don't pet the sweaty stuff. Don't sweat the petty stuff. Bye.